What's up, boxing fans? I'm back here with another video here set for you guys. Going to be going in depth and giving my predictions into the Canelo Alvarez and Williams Scull Card, where they have with Riyadh season in Turkey, Aladik. Unfortunately, this card is not as stacked as how it usually is with Riyadhs, and you know how it is over there towards that area. All the oil men, they got all the money. But the matchup on this card is kind of straightforward. You kind of get the idea of what they want to do on this card. But unfortunately, Badu Jack versus Ryan Rosicic, which was going to be on this card, one of the upper echelon cards or names. You'd have Badu Jack, is returning to the ring. I really did believe that he said that he was retired or he was going to retire. He's 41 years old. He's coming off a 2-year layoff, bumping up and going to the cruiserweight division. He was on a 6-fight win streak just before he retired. None of the names that he did have on his record in terms of the 6-fight win streak weren't really great. And Ryan Rosicic, at the time, the only loss that he had on his resume was to Oscar Rivas, and that was early in his career. He was on a 7-fight win streak. 6 of the 7 ended up on a KO streak, which is insane. The last time out, he rematched the guy that beat during that he got lost to was a split decision, and went to the rematch with the draw last time out for Ryan. But unfortunately, Ryan suffered a bicep injury, so this matchup is not going to be able to happen unless Badu Jack stays on the card. I do think that he is going to stay on the card, but he's going to get a new matchup against somebody else, regardless of the fact if it's a no-name or lesser ranked talent. I think Badu Jack is going to have a nice tune-up fight to be able to get back into his career. But if it's a higher level type of rank of fighter, I think Badu Jack is going to get in there and get knocked the fuck out cold. And moving on up the card, we got Martin Bakoli versus Efe Aagba. Martin Bakoli, as of right now, is coming off the TKO loss to Joseph Parker on literal 2 days' notice. He just got his bags and got going. He just arrived to Riyadh the same day of the fight night. So he bounces back in 3 months. After that loss, I really was happy that Martin Bakoli, as soon as he got knocked down in that second round or third round that he got knocked down, they waved in and they put in the towel. That being the corner, very smart decision. Also knowing that the matchup with Efe Aagba is still going to be going on. You don't want more unnecessary punishment getting on Martin Bakoli, a dude again that literally just took the fight on 2-day notice. And you got Efe Aagba. I mean, the definition of mid, in my opinion. We lost to Frank Sanchez, who's a really highly touted heavyweight, in my opinion. But as of right now, he's on a 5-5 win streak and has wins over dudes with decent records, but wins that are kind of concerning. He last time out had a split decision win over Guido Vanella, the guy that just lost to Richard Torres on the top ranked card that they had. He has 2 KOs, a DQ victory, and a unanimous decision win. Efe Aagba had a lot of hype in the past, was built up to be somebody similar to a Deontay Wilder or a Francis Ngannou type because he's also from Africa. Martin Bakoli is also from Africa as well, but I believe he's adopted Scotland as his region of residence as of right now. I don't know, man. I really don't. I think Efe Aagba is really mid. I mean, he can be able to go to a decision. He can preserve his gas tank. He has some type of power. But Martin Bakoli, I just think, is on another level compared to Efe Aagba. And I think Martin Bakoli is going to knock Efe Aagba into another dimension, especially coming off the TKO loss against Joseph Parker. He's going to be more in shape. He's going to be more ready. He's going to have more money into his pockets. And just the style, I just can see him walking down Efe Aagba effortlessly and really making it an easy night against Efe Aagba. I think Efe Aagba has a chance maybe for a straight right, to maybe really hurt Martin Bakoli, but I really don't see Efe Aagba coming out a victor, especially in that matchup. And moving on up the card to the co-main event, we have the rematch of the century, Bruno Sarais versus Jaime Munguia. Wow, man. I mean, what was supposed to be a real easy tune-up fight, returned to Mexico for Jaime Munguia, ended up being one of the biggest upsets of the sport in boxing last year and one of the biggest upsets in boxing in general, 100%. Bruno Sarais is an undefeated, no-name dude from France, and he made himself a name by KOing Jaime Munguia on Mexican soil. I mean, absolutely like star-studded, like movie-making type of story for Bruno Sarais, especially knowing that he only had 4 other KOs on his resume, despite having 25, now 26 wins. So he has 26 wins. Again, is still undefeated and has 5 KOs. He has real no power in his hands. He's not threatening with any type of shots that he's thrown, but he's a really talented and good boxer. Has tremendous boxing talent. And Jaime Munguia is coming off his first career KO loss ever. And he needs to really redeem himself in this rematch. He needs to be lasered and focused to put his name back into contention, to be able to get those big money fights like how he was before with like Canelo Alvarez, Servier Devinchenko, Gabe Rosado. He's been into the likes of them. Had his real like big breakout with Saddam Ali. This is real like way back. This is like 9 years ago. And Jaime Munguia, he did have a lot of moments, especially when he was pressuring Bruno, putting him back. I think he dropped him or hurt him with a few shots. He had the fight in the bag. It's just Bruno Sarais was able to weather that storm, land a perfect right hand right on the button on Jaime Munguia, and Munguia wasn't able to get up from that shot. And sometimes Munguia can be very chinny. He got dropped by Canelo. He's been hurt many a times beforehand, so he is there to be hit. His defense is very lackluster, but he's a Mexican fighter. He's there to be able to get into the trenches, get into the war of things. I think he's going to be laser focused, especially with this being in the rematch for him. He knows that he needs more big money fights and more eyes and attention back on him. And I think he gets the victory in KO fashion over Bruno Sarais and rights the wrong of last time out in that outing that they had within each other. And now moving on to the main event, we have William Scull versus Canelo Alvarez. I don't need to go in any type of detail, don't need to break down, don't need to do anything in terms of Canelo Alvarez. He's now matched up with Turki Al-Adik, Riyadh, all them boys over there in Saudi with the Saudis. He's now with contract under them. He's going to be having the big money fights and the real big fights now in his career. He's touted to be in that matchup against Terrence Crawford in September around Mexican Independence Day weekend. So while he is having that matchup, he is going to be having a tune-up matchup against William Scull. William Scull has that Cuban boxing background and is undefeated with 23 wins and 9 KOs. So he has that similar type of style that most of the Cuban boxers have. Erislandy Lara comes to name, Sullivan Barrera, Luis Ortiz, even though he was a heavyweight, he has some power, but, you know, having that southpaw stance. Guillermo Rigondeaux, as of right now, Yordenis Ugas, you know, names of those ilk, you know, all those Cuban types of fighters having that type of background. His best friend as of right now, Andy Cruz, also another fellow Cuban boxer. David Morrell, even though he's not really, he has the Cuban background style and is the southpaw, but is a different type of style, type of fighter that is William Scull. He has no real names on his record at all whatsoever. This is the biggest fight of his career in a main event spot against a name like Canelo Alvarez, so the lights will be shining very brightly in his debut main event against a name, again, like a Canelo Alvarez. He is the current IBF super middleweight champion as of right now, and, you know, boxing, not only is it just a sport, it is also a business, and we know how corrupt, and we know the history and all the bullshit that boxing comes with, and the organizations wanted to be getting money and then being petty and stupid. So they took the IBF belt off Canelo because he didn't want to go against their mandatory, that being William Scull, which is, I mean, I don't know what these organizations are doing. This is whatever. One thing that I can say about William Scull, at looking some of the tape that I've seen on him, he looks very strong and well built. Like, he is built well. Like, he looks strong. He doesn't look like, you know, frail. His frame is whatever. He's filled in. He's a super middleweight for sure. I don't see him ever jumping up to light heavy because he doesn't have that type of power in his hands, in my opinion. and especially with the type of style of boxing that he does have, the Cuban boxing style, going back as well, is more of a slick, counter punching, having great footwork, not really throwing a lot of punches, being very economical. The punch selection is, to a T. They get it what they want to get into and not really get into much else. The movement is very well. Um, Also, as well, most of the time, Cuban boxers, they're in that southpaw stance. He switches stances, so he is very comfortable in both, that being southpaw and orthodox. He is slick and reactionary, but while he is slick and reactionary, he does get touched a lot. He gets hit a lot with a lot of shots. His last outing that he had against Vladimir Shishkin or something like that, whatever his name was, he was getting touched up. Even though he was moving his head and trying to be able to dodge these punches with the head movement, he still was getting hit. He's a counter puncher. He's looking for the counters, typical Cuban boxing type of style, and how they built it with their schools over there. But the real reason why this fight is happening is for two reasons. One, Canelo Alvarez wants to be able to be undisputed in the super middleweight division again. So he's going to get this layup of a fight against William Scull. Pretty much a tune-up, in my opinion, for the Terence Crawford fight. And when they do fight, they will fight for the undisputed belt. It will be on the line. That is one reason as to why. And the other reason as to why is, I mentioned it beforehand, is that he switches stances. Terence Crawford is known for switching his stances, him being unorthodox. Him recently, as of note, having a lot more success with the southpaw stance. So it will be a test for Canelo Alvarez to get into this camp. He's already in the camp. But getting into this camp, getting accustomed of a switch hitter, being comfortable with knowing that a guy is going to be switching from orthodox to southpaw at whim, and being comfortable with that coming through. So a pretty tactical move by Canelo and his team, by accepting the fight with William Scull, knowing that it will be very easy, in my opinion. Canelo, as of note, recently is on a win streak, but is kind of a decision merchant as of note. He got the knockdown against Munguia and against Berlanga the last two times out that Canelo has fought, but he didn't get the KOs. And I think the last time he got a KO was against Caleb Plant, if I remember correctly. Besides that, all the other victories that he has as of recently, that being the Golovkin trilogy, John Ryder, Charlo, the aforementioned Munguia and Berlanga, those fights have been all decisions. And I think he's going to get back into a KO victory in style with a dude that is, strong and firm, well built in the super middleweight division, switches stances, and he's able to get back the undisputed claim again. That's really the only reason why this fight is being made. And I mean, whatever. I don't know why IBF took the title away. I'm like befuddled. I'm at loss for words why they do some stupid stuff like this, man. It is egregious what these greedy organizations do, man. Unbelievable. Still, the sport, it's gotten a lot better as of recently, but still, this is just, I don't know. It's never going to go away, but whatever. Obviously, like this video. If you like this video, this prediction video is this card is kind of easy. You kind of know what this card is. It's, a card of getting these guys back into rhythm, that being Bakoli, that being Munguia, that being Canelo, them being the big favorites, them being able to get over certain hubs against, certain type of levels, with Munguia redeeming himself in the rematch, Bakoli coming back from the TKO loss, and then Canelo then regaining the undisputed belt and going against a switch hitter. Comment your opinions on how you believe that. Comment your opinions on IBF and how greedy of an organization they are. And they're just money hungry all the time. And subscribe, boxing fans. I'm here. You're here for a reason, I believe. You like these videos and you like this type of content. You like these type of predictions and you want more of it. And I'm here. So why not stay here longer? Thank you guys again for watching again. And peace.